of this session. And I would appreciate every one of you to help me sticking to these rules. We will give each speaker 15 minutes to speak about their topic, and then after the two speakers or the three speakers, depends, will finish, we will receive questions first. I will allow the first period for questions. So if you have a question, please just write it down until the two speakers, and then you can address them. After we finish the questions session, then you will have any comments or any contributions to the subjects they have discussed. As the program, of course, is saying, they will be taking the discussion to talk about a viable community of Egyptian American community. In other words, how to achieve that. What is a community? What is viable? And these things have to be defined, because I am certain that we need to define, otherwise we will be shooting in different directions. And of course, how to achieve that. And with that, I'm going to ask Mr. Mohamed Kamel to start. If you want, you can sit down.
No, it's okay. I'll take it from there.
Mohamed, I can change the slides for you if you want.
No, I'll take it. Good morning, everyone, and thank you to Mohamed, Brother Amin, Dr. Safi, for this invitation to be here together today. As usual, when we prepare something for any, or when I prepare something for any event, I start to prepare what I'm going to speak about, and then on the beginning of the session, I start to take notes. And I discovered that I'm going in a different direction, but I'm going to concentrate actually to help ourselves achieve something at the end. But in the beginning, I take a minute to mention something. Forgive me if my language is not perfect in English. Being in Montreal for 20 years, French and English became the same language for me. So I became confused between putting E at the end of the word to be pronounced in English, but not in French. So 20 years in Montreal make sometimes differences. Yes, in 1992, when I moved to Montreal, I never lost hope in Egypt. And I'm not going to speak about politics in Egypt. I'm respecting this, and really, we have to concentrate. I just would like to say that I never lost hope in Egypt. And through my 20 years in Montreal, between professional development and community activism as well, I did some work, started with Islamic communities, and we did a lot of work across Canada, from coast to coast to coast, as we call it. And at the same time, working with Arab organizations, and in a local politics as well. Until 2006, when things started to develop a little bit in Egypt, started to get attached more to Egypt, so started to get more focusing in Egypt situation and Egypt politics. None of us, myself, speaking of myself, imagined that January 25 will make the big jump, but we never lost hope. And by the way, when I say Canadian from coast to coast to coast, not you, but I know many Americans believe that we live in what we call it the igloo, which is the snow homes. That's what we call about Canadian. Those people living in the north there. Now actually, yesterday when I arrived, yesterday night, I discovered Montreal was warmer than here. So it was the first experience for me. First time for me, by the way, here. Not in the state, my son is living in Seattle, and he's working for 6 years there. So I went to the West Coast, but the East Coast, not really. Going to actually what we are speaking about today, and actually Dr. Safi considered a very important point, which is what's viable and what's community. That's something we'll develop together today, and we'll try to come up at the end, as Dr. Mohamed said, with something, and at the same time, we'll try to learn from each other, because all of us have different experience, different background, and being together will help us for sure doing something. I'm not wasting your time in those. Just quickly, those 3 photos really, really, really inspired me to work for Egypt for some stuff. This is the photo from Evolution. All of you saw that in Facebook and everywhere and on the internet. And just start to refresh my memory in about almost 2 years now what's went there. This is Montreal, by the way. We spent 18 years with the Egyptian in front of our consulate. And this is a very inspired one, because when a regime reach a point that his own people raise the shows for him, kick out, it's enough. This is a very inspired one, and it's moved me personally. Praying for this day to come, which is king. Now we have to look together how we build on it to go forward. And those for platform for today. I'm not bringing anything from but I just would like to put them in front of me, and that's what I did in the beginning. I put them in front of me and start to think about the initiative, what the initiative is, what the institution could be, how to build a database informatic, how we can finance this as income. So I tried to put those together, and I think that I will try to go more on the institutional part, but I put the initiative as well here, because the initiative is the main thing that can move us to what we really would like to achieve. And actually, initiative without feeling that an openness to innovation. We have to be innovative in the way we're doing things, in our business, in our daily life, in our thoughts. Really, we need to be more innovative in what we do. Our biggest problem, and Dr. Fahmy said in the beginning when the email came to him about Egyptians are very good people as individuals, but they are not as a nation. Our biggest problem is how to form our structure, how to structurize our way of working, how to do it. And I'll try really to concentrate on this, because during my 20 years in different days, I think this is the thing that I can be more contributed by more on other. I think that we have a lot of words in our dictionary need to be, and that's my humble point of view. We'll discuss today, and maybe at the end of the day, you prove that I'm wrong, which I'd be very happy, because that means we learn from each other as usual. There's some wording there in our dictionary. We need to look at it and to be sure if this is those words, really we need them or not. I think there's a few words we need to take them out of the dictionary. There's a few words we need to add them to our dictionary. And those are main 3 words, I think, in building umbrella organization or institution, we need to take them out. We need to forget them for a while. Anonymity. There's nothing called that every single human being is different, that's for sure. So we will never, all of us, agree in one thing. It will never happen. At home, we don't agree with our children, with our wife, with our husbands, with our sisters, with our brothers. That's normal. But we learn how to live together. Absolute unity. There is nothing called absolute unity. In the unity is needs and goals could change between today and tomorrow. So we have to put a stop to feeling that unity is absolute things. No, unity is relative to what we are speaking about today. Could be tomorrow different way of uniting our effort. Yesterday was different in uniting our efforts. Dependence, and this will come at the end of the finance. We should depend on ourselves. We should be independent in everything we do. Well, many organizations, when they start to form, and one of them in Montreal I have experience with, and after a few months of working said, how are we going to finance ourselves? Let's go knock the doors. No. And I mean, speak about knock the doors for institutions and companies and government organizations said, no. We have to be really independent. Because if we lost our independence, we're going to lose everything. We're going to lose our mission, we're going to lose our objective, we're going to lose everything, our goals. We will never achieve anything. So I think those 3 words we need to examine. I think we need to be removed from our dictionary, the way of structure, but we need to examine. You know what? maybe it's